Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm joined again by my partner Lynn at We Cosplayer, and we are going to be reviewing Season 2 Episode 6, which is of course the Interstellar Song Contest. Um, this review should have been up yesterday, but just due to other reasons we couldn't get it out really. And I wasn't really in the right headspace to film, and then Lynn wasn't either. So we just went, we'll just leave it, we'll just do it the next day and let things set in a bit better. And I'm kind of glad we held off now, to be honest, because some things have came up about this episode that people have pointed out. We've watched Unleashed since then, so we can add to that. And obviously, the big thing about this episode was tying into it was Eurovision, of course, of which it literally aired right beforehand. We've actually watched it twice, which is rare for these reviews. The only episodes we've rewatched this series is Lux and now this one, which was the two ones that Lynn was looking forward to the most. And they're both problematic. Yeah, she gives them both 10 out of 10. But we'll come on to that. So because of it coming up, because Eurovision was on and Lynn loves Eurovision, it's not really my thing. I basically said to her, let's rewatch it, take it in a bit more a second time, and then we'll do the review tomorrow. So yeah, we've watched it twice. We've watched Unleashed. Some stuff about it has came out, which we'll come on to that, and I suppose we can mention Eurovision a bit. I just thought it's a good thing we held off now. Anyway, so as always, I'm going to let Lynn go first because, as usual with me, I don't know what to. And people are like, oh, you don't like any episodes. I do like episodes. I just have good taste. But yeah, sorry, this season, this season's not been for me. I like this one more. I like this one more than others. I'll say that. But yeah. Anyway, first impressions. Obviously, what did you think?
Oh my god, I love that so much. I really going to be high in my list of episodes for this season.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say of all time.
No, I wouldn't go that far. That's still Girl in the Fireplace for modern.
Fuck's sake. This is better than Girl in the Fireplace anyway.
But, oh my god, that is everything you wanted from a Doctor Who episode. Yes, they could have put a bit more Eurovision into it.
That's my biggest problem with it.
What it was advertised as.
It's promotion. Uh-huh.
But the themes and everything surrounding it kind of does tie in brilliantly well, considering where we are in the current climate of things.
Yeah.
It really does tie in very, very well.
Yeah. Lynn loved it. I'm on the fence about it. Like, I think my problem with it is the same thing with Lux. It didn't deliver what I wanted personally. Like, from Lux, I wanted creepy cartoons and loads of animation shit. And we didn't really get that. And it's the same thing with this, because I thought, like, obviously I'm not expecting a whole episode of fucking songs. That's never gonna happen, of course. But I wanted like loads of random aliens walking out and camp fun, and the delegates from Dalek's Master Plan, and that woman lizard who came on to sing looked like
the white one.
Yeah, she looked like Malfa from Mission to the Unknown. You will know what I'm on about. Especially the remake version, which is very flat. Yeah, no, I wanted more songs and I wanted camp fun. Now, I like camp and Doctor Who to a certain degree, and I thought this would be it, but no, because last night I went on to it on iPlayer to check timestamps, to rewatch certain reveals and take certain screenshots and that, and the way they set this up is it starts off 10 minutes into the episodes that air bubble is released, right? So we're 10 minutes in and we just kind of forget about the Eurovision stuff and it just becomes Die Hard. And then we only spend about 20-25 minutes of, I guess you could call it the main plot. And those last 15 minutes are dedicated to reveals and that song that whatever her name is sang, and
Yeah.
like it's like the main plot, I guess you could say. It doesn't really. It goes by very quickly.
It does.
Like watching it the second time, I was like, "Fuck me!" Like the kid comes on board, and then he's gonna fucking kill 3 trillion people. But it's like a very quick A to Z plot, and because this episode only had a 47-minute runtime, it should have been an hour. I think it really should have been an hour to let more like room. Like it didn't feel too quick. It felt decently paced, but like it's that episode where it's like, yeah, it's the reveals at the end and stuff, and you have to leave room for that, obviously, and it's like, well, as long as it's set up well and goes somewhere, then I guess. But I didn't want that in the fucking Eurovision episode. That seems like that should be for next week's one.
But at least that set up now out of the way.
Yeah, it is.
Straight in,
Whereas
I
know.
The set stuff last season.
Yeah, it was.
We had to set it all up in that first half,
yeah.
and the rest the second half.
Yeah.
So now all
that you liked.
Now all the setup's done. They could just go straight in and have 2 big episodes properly. And what you talking about? We did have brilliant music.
What do you mean? Sorry.
We had Money's Best Work.
I wasn't on. Wait, what do you mean? Oh,
Money's Best Work.
Yeah, I got that in my fucking head after watching it twice.
Done its job then.
No, I got it out of my head twice. No, sorry. I got it out of my head after watching it twice, right? It was gone for the rest of the night, and my fucking mate Owen sent it to me, and then it came back, and then I forgot about it because I went to sleep, and I made the mistake of listening to it this morning when I woke up on YouTube, and it's been stuck in my head this whole afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, I had to laugh so hard when I seen that the first time.
Her reaction. Her reaction to that.
It's so Eurovision for the wackiness of it. That's the problem.
Yeah, her reaction to that. I asked her if she was okay because she wouldn't stop laughing. Yeah, fucking. We watched Unleashed, obviously, and I mean the shooter's reaction to when he found out Murray.
When Murray
wrote that.
Because more people, to be fair, with a song like that, more people think, oh, it came from one of the writers, or it's been a collaboration of a few people.
Yeah.
No. The main writer for this, he left gaps.
Yeah.
And Rocco went, well, we need to fill those gaps with some sort of music, even if it's only a few bits.
Yeah.
So they filled it with music. Passed everything over to Murray to do the actual composing side of it.
Yeah.
And he hands back Dugga-Doo.
Dugga-Doo, yeah.
And they look at it and go, what?
Yeah.
And even they see that themselves over to them went, what?
Yeah.
And ran with it.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to do it over themselves.
The shooter was surprised because he only found that out when Stephen was talking to him in Unleashed. He's only just found it at that moment, so his true reaction's right there on camera. But yeah, Dugga-Doo is obviously a bit of fun. It's a weird looking alien creature.
It's all Eurovision.
Yeah, it's all. I don't know if you noticed, but see when they pull Ryland back in when he's out in space, it's right next to him.
Oh,
in the corner of the screen. Did you not notice? No. It's there. The Dugga-Doo thing's there. So it's a real thing in the episode. Yeah, obviously that was just a bit of fun. No, I know we had that and other stuff, but I wanted, I guess, diversity in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't think it dedicates enough time to what it should be. And it's like, oh, we're doing other things instead, rather than like, I just wanted a bit of camp, like light-hearted fun. And I like that in Doctor Who. And then he's like, oh, but you got a dark episode. Well, it was kind of, it depends on what you want.
There is a few little gems in there if you think about it. Because if you look at what they've done with Ryland and stuff, there's a few little gems in there because I like the whole idea of, oh, look at these bracket of celebrities. America will have their own bracket of whoever.
Oh, you mean UK celebrities? Yeah.
Where though more people will recognise and want to see, and they do pretty much everything that's going. They're always taken out and reused. Sometimes people find that a bit much and not too overused. But like yours and Dick do quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ryland did quite a handful of bits.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it would have been Phil Holly with a lot of stuff as well, but for reasons that's been slightly cast aside.
Sorry. I just clocked what you
but-
meant.
And then going even further back,
Uh,
you've got a few other names that I'll still not mention from the 60s and 70s era that done the same thing. So every era's got the bracket of celebrities, so it's kind of nice to have that
no, yeah.
theory of, oh, we'll just close them and pull them out every time we just need them. They're no good for anything else.
Yeah, I know.
They're just good for keeping the audience happy and bringing in the views, so we'll just pull them out every time we need them. Keep them on ice.
Yeah. Fuck off, keep them on ice.
Well, technically they're frozen, so they are on ice.
I suppose we should mention that now, actually. Now, I'm not a Ryland fan at all. I knew,
Yeah, no, I love it, I hate it.
I hated them as a teenager when I was watching them in fucking random celebrity programs. When it was in my last days of watching television before I just kind of like gave up watching television. But like when he was in it, I was like, oh god. And I thought, oh, okay. Well, I suppose it's his type of episode, isn't it? Yeah, it kind of makes sense for him to be in it.
He does do the coverage for the semi-finals along with Scott Mills for BBC.
Yeah.
And he also hosted it with Scott for the Radio 2 coverage. So anybody that not want to see the videos, because one, they may be blind or it may be too flashy for them, or them might be out and about doing other things and still want to check in. They've got the Radio 2 coverage and it's still to the host it, so it makes sense having somebody like Ryland there.
Yeah.
There's a few people that could have put in as well over the years.
I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit more of that, but because he was announced for it, and then fucking Graham Norton got announced, so we'll come back to.
Well, that I do a host.
Yeah, a host.
BBC for.
I mean,
BBC
shouldn't obviously it wasn't a shock when he got announced, but I was like, oh okay, we'll see how this is. And to be honest, I mean, he wasn't in it. Maybe because Ryland wasn't in it a lot. That I was like, okay, but yeah, he was actually fine.
Yeah.
And he said on Unleashed how he was actually really nervous about doing it because he's not done a lot of acting.
Yeah, he's more of a TV presenter.
Yeah.
And further back than that, where he came into the public light a lot more was through X Factor.
Yeah.
So that's when most people know him from X Factor and that horrible mess scene that still gets brought up every now and then, and he is embarrassed by it now.
Yeah.
Very embarrassed by it now. And all the TV presenting he's done over the years.
Right. Yeah. Because you cut me off before I was going to say something.
Sorry.
Right. But he was talking about in Unleashed how he was actually real nervous about doing it, and the reason as to why is because he's not really done a lot of acting. He is more of a presenter, and he was saying how it's challenging to act like a presenter. Now, yeah, obviously you can just roll for it because you are a presenter and that's what you are before, and you put that into acting, but you need to act being a presenter. And he was talking about how he's not used to like stopping and doing that a lot. Obviously he'll have that presenter part of him channeled in his system, but he was talking about how he has to keep looking at camera and like act like something's going wrong in that. It was really challenging for him because he's not used to it.
Because most presenters is in their blood to, if they don't hear something, because if they're really good at it, they don't hear something coming through, nobody's giving them a direction, but they can say something's going wrong, is to find something to cut to, ask for a cut, or say something and keep talking. It's like radio, don't leave a silence, unnecessary silence for any more than a few seconds. Because with radio especially, which he also does do a lot of, because he's a radio 2 presenter. If you leave a big enough silence, the emergency backup TV will kick in. That's why presenters that have been told do not leave a big long silence, especially for radio. And it comes from presenting as well. It's child in their blood to not leave a silence, keep going if it's a problem, because the problem could be sorted very quickly. If it's a major problem, then they're more likely to start the ads. But with something like Univision, advertising's not allowed.
Right. Yeah, I'm not brain savvy with all that, so I'm just like, oh, okay, is that how they operate? I don't know what they do. I have no interest in being a television presenter. But yeah, no. He was actually fine. He was fine. He wasn't in it too much. Quite like that joke he made about how when he got fucking shoved up into space and he's like, oh, not again. He just fucking came out of cryogenic suspension and he gets put back into it. But I like the idea of how they've just preserved his body, like, oh yeah, we'll fucking bring it occasionally.
Definitely like in another couple of years we'll bring him back out again.
Bring back out again. Going on to that scene where everyone got sucked out of the space station, I guess. Really chilling stuff, especially that shot with like that sort of like purple red sort of sky in a sense, and just like all the bodies like floating, like, and the way everyone went up and like with the Doctor and the TARDIS and Belinda, and just the way everything slowed down. It was like, that's what I liked. I liked that, the change in tone, because it started off as like this sort of camp thing, and I'm someone who likes darkness and Doctor Who, so I was all for it. And then it switches to that 10 minutes in. It's like, oh fuck me, this is like really already going quite, serious. I loved that. Absolutely loved that. It was such a like the Disney budget for this era. They wouldn't have been able to make this without it. So I was all for it. It looked lovely. It was very well directed. And I'm gonna mention it now, because when the Doctor was almost gonna completely freeze, now he knows how Katarina felt when she was sucked out the fucking airlock.
Yeah, but that was by her own choice.
Yeah, I know, but still. But not her Hartnell companion. Another Hartnell companion fucking brings him back. Yeah, Susan. I mean, our reaction to that was just,
So nice to see her back again.
Yeah. I mean, what was... Sorry, I put my arm around you.
Nah, you're fine.
What was your, what... Because I was sitting back.
To be fair,
so what was your face when you...
To be fair, I was shocked that they actually went ahead with it. Because I know Caroline
Ford.
Sorry.
Not Caroline John.
Had expressed wanting to come back. But, like a lot of Doctor Who actors, it needs to be the right moment with the right script, and not just for the sake of doing it.
I think that was the right time for it, which we'll come on to.
And just because of how they have met, as you've seen in Unleashed,
the 60th,
during the 60th anniversary,
Starbase party,
you do bump into a lot of different people, depending who's free to go along to the event.
Jamie Hartley Cowan. Yeah.
Well, so if they've got time, they will start talking about things, whether the idea's picked up or not. But because of where we are now, and he's one of the last ones to really be brought back.
Yeah.
Out of most of, because we've run through most of the major ones. It's
only
really
Benton.
John Levine, and who else were you thinking?
Who else was I thinking?
Second Doctor, I thought a first Doctor companion you were thinking of the other day.
No, I wasn't thinking of anyone. But I'd toss Romana in there.
Yeah.
Romana and Benton. I'd say they're pretty much the two last major ones that need to come back.
Because there's a few others that would have been nice to have had back, but obviously they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we're just glad that we got the cameos where we did.
Well, yeah, and Power of the Doctor, and obviously Tales of the TARDIS and that. So.
And then Sergeant as well.
Oh, before. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
So over the last 20 years, they have mentioned or brought back a few.
Yeah.
What we're thankful for, because they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see Caroline.
Caroline.
I know, I can't help it. But it's nice to see her back and stuff.
I know.
And it was very brief, but if you look at how she's not saying much, but she's been in that powerful position of I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not here just to bring you back out of the status you're in this moment. I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see her over the next 2 seasons.
Next episode 2 seasons.
I'm losing my words today.
There might not be 2 seasons going off the rumours. No, I'm joking. Anyway, no, it's been confirmed. It's going beyond.
But what I did also see floating around as well.
Disney's decision.
And if that was 13 or the fugitive doctor, wouldn't you still say granddad or grandfather? Or would you say
don't say that.
Grandmother or just went doctor?
I would
in that moment.
I'd say I'd just say doctor. I think she'd just say doctor.
It's a weird way to think about.
It is a weird thing to think about, but I think she would just say doctor if that was the case.
Because I've got a feeling
it was grandfather initially. So.
Yeah, I know that. It depends on what day Susan came into their life.
Their life, yeah.
Because as we've seen from last episode, I don't think it's the last we've seen of the futures of either.
No. Oh, imagine if they meet and team up.
Whether that's for the next 2 episodes or they might be brought back in the next season.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but I don't think it's the last we've seen of her.
No, it won't be the last we've seen of her. Anyway, I was sitting back, and then I just caught. I mean, Lynn turned around to me. She was like, "Oh my god!" And I just sat here. And I was like, it just came up, and I was just like, "What?" Sorry, because that my attention was caught at that point. I was like, "Holy shit!" Yeah. It's exciting. And Caroline Ford's reaction on Unleashed was amazing. And God, I have to say this right now, like, it goes to show when something like that happens, like when you bring back an actor from this show that appeared so long ago, and how everyone on the set was like, oh my god, it's Caroline Ford. The amount of respect that they have for her because of how legendary she is in this show, because she was the initial first companion. Even Verada, who's a lot younger than Carol, she was buzzing at the fact that Caroline Ford was there. It's like, it goes to show like how properly it's treated, and also how Carol mentioned as well, like, she was hugging Russell, and Russell was like, would you like to come back? And she was like, of course I'd love to come back. It says, well, you're coming back.
Because if you've watched some of the interviews, when they're interviewing and stuff with other bits of Doctor Media, they always ask her, would you come back? And she went, I would love to, just finding the right moment.
Yeah.
Because it's not her place to go right, I'm up for coming back, where can you fit me in? It's more of whoever producing it at the time or writing the stories at the time to go, could we possibly bring her back here?
Yeah.
And then they're going to go in contact. It's going to be, they've got to put the foot out.
Yeah.
Not her. And that's the difficult situation for any actor. And that's why, if you look at like John Levine, who would come back in a drop of a hat, but nobody put the offer out there.
Exactly.
Which is a sad thing.
It is a sad thing, and that's why I feel like, we just don't get what we want sometimes because the offer's never put out, and Russell put the offer out because he's clearly keen to finish that story of where she is. And I loved how because the one thing I want, when we watched Unleashed, the one thing I wanted to hear from Carol was her opinion on the new TARDIS set, because obviously she'll be amazed at how much it looks like the old one that she used to be in, but obviously it's huge compared to what they had, and she said there's no comparison, this one is better, because like it was like 10 steps, I could hug the console, now it's like 1,000 steps to get round to where you want to go, and I love her for saying that.
And I wouldn't be surprised as well if during the initial meet with her and the Doctor that he sort of asked her about David.
Yeah.
It won't be overshadowed, it'll just be brief, but I'm sure you'll get a mention.
I imagine it will. But obviously we kind of knew this was coming anyway, Susan, because they obviously teased it a bit last season in the Devil's Cord, where he was like, oh, we're staying over there in that junkyard, and obviously Susan Triad turned out to be Sutet, but it was that thing of leading you on to thinking it was her, and there's been a couple of other hints throughout this, so we knew it was going to happen eventually. It was just, I don't think we expected it in this episode.
No.
Like, it was, they really lowered your expectations of that happening here. You think it's more of a finale thing, but no, we're doing it right now. So it was a good move, and yeah, using her to bring the Doctor back out of that suspension to give him motivation, but also what we're going to come on to now is the complicated sort of politics of this episode.
That's like a theme of it, really.
The theme. Could you bring up the screenshots?
Do you really need them?
Yeah, I do. Because my friend Dan pointed this out.
It's because I can possibly
It's
give
fine,
you what you need.
It's fine, I'll just read them out and then you can elaborate.
Because I know the gist of what it was.
Yeah.
It's quite.
Yeah, okay. It's fine.
Take the phone.
Okay. Okay. So basically, my friend Dan, who might be watching this, I don't know. He basically said, because I've looked at some fan interaction, but not on the negative side of it, and he said, I wanted it to be campy fun, and it wasn't. The reveal was wank, which we'll come on to. The politics was a bit yikes, not as bad as what people are saying on Twitter though. And I was like, politics ? He basically went on to say, Eurovision still allows Israel to compete even though they're committing a genocide in Palestine. Russia was banned after they invaded Ukraine, obviously. Eurovision's biggest sponsor is an Israeli company. So in the episode, the corporation destroys the Hellenes world for a product can be read as the Israel-Palestine conflicts. People are really angry that the villain can therefore be compared to a Palestine freedom fighter and the Doctor tortures him. And basically there's a lot of grim conversations going on right now, and Doctor Twitter is really toxic at the moment. Now,
That one? No. Fine.
Now, at first, I was like, what? Because he sent me this after we watched it the first time. So I thought, I'll keep this in mind when I'm watching it the second time when it broadcasts. And, this is the problem. Right, I don't think that's what the episode is trying to say.
No, but you need to take it into consideration, considering everything that's going on at the moment. Because...
Yeah, but you didn't let me finish. Right, the Doctor... I'm not seeing it as him torturing a Palestine freedom fighter. He's doing it because he's unaware of the Hellenes. If you watch the episode again, he's not aware of what the Hellenes are and what happened to their world. He finds out after. That's why he's crying when he's watching her perform the song, because he will have found it obviously on the in between. So up to that point, he's unaware of what's happened. From his point of view, he's only doing it because it triggered him, obviously, because he had to do it at one point. And then this fucker tries to commit genocide over 3 trillion people. Fans are looking at it as, oh, he was aware of it and he's now torturing his pet. When this is what I mean about this fandom. Sometimes they're looking way too much fucking into it. He's not aware at this point, so it can't be read as that.
That is a fair point. But for me, I never seen it as that. When I seen the problem once all the pieces were put into place. Was the Honey Corporation.
Yeah. So that was the...
And when I was seeing the problem.
Yeah, and this which I've just been told about.
Because as much as the Doctor's battling a race that's been deemed so dark and horrible, and because of the way the company's made everybody see them, right? But as you said, the Doctor didn't really know that information.
He doesn't, not yet.
He just seen people that he's seen before.
Oh, yeah, because he says, I've seen many versions of your kid.
Because if you think about it, what the Hellenes,
that's what they're called.
were actually doing is no different to the Tatarans, the Daleks, the Cybermen.
Exactly.
Etc.
Exactly.
The list can go on.
Exactly.
It's no different.
Yeah.
It's basically someone seizing power for their own good.
Good, yeah.
And try to cover it through something else. Yes, there's a point to be made because of what the company's doing.
Yeah.
But were they actually doing it because of the company?
Yeah.
Or were they doing it for their own benefit?
I'd say
because,
their own benefit, I would say.
Because on the whole company thing itself, yes, and this is the company went and invaded bought a planet purely to use the honey flavouring
Flavouring, yeah.
so they can manufacture the best honey in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But in order to do so, they've pretty much wiped the whole entire planet or demoralised them so much that everybody feels them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the same, keeping the control on them, no different to the slave trade.
Exactly.
In a sense.
Yeah.
But, and this is what I've got to reiterate for anybody who's a Eurovision fan.
Which I'm not, so yeah.
If you look at it, there's a lot to be said because it's nice that they made the reference to bringing Australia in and
Yeah.
10 years ago.
10 years ago,
And they were brought in because they were big fans.
Yeah.
More than any other country outside of it.
Yeah.
Despite the very, very early morning time slot that they get for it.
Yeah.
They were big fans. Millions of them were staying up to watch it.
Yeah.
So they became honorary members. And they just stuck and they've been there ever since. Whether they make it through to the final or not, which they did not this time.
Oh, did not.
No.
Who won, by the way?
It was Austria.
Oh, okay.
So
I've only just found that out, yeah, because Lynn was telling me, like, oh, Israel was which, again, this is a thing to mention, Israel was second place, we were 19th.
Let me finish.
No,
I'm getting to all that if you let me finish.
I've only just found that Austria won. No, thank you for telling me that.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, which is brilliant, because it shows that it leads into the whole idea as well of they were made honorary members because they're not European.
Yeah.
Because they're made honorary members, and they always will be, to now having the idea of it's no longer about Europe, it's about the much larger world,
the galaxy,
coming together.
Yeah.
Because of all the, and if you think about it, Eurovision started in Switzerland originally, because that was the whole theme this year, bringing it home, because it started there. And it was 56, 57, something along those lines. So it was pretty much after the war, where people really needed something like to bring it all back together.
Yeah, exactly.
So it had to serve a real purpose.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to remember, it served a real purpose for that.
Yeah.
Now you go back to 2022 and everything with Gaza, Russia, Ukraine, everything starts kicking off.
Yeah.
Right? So, everybody gears up and goes, Russia needs to be banned.
Yeah.
Right? And they were all for it. They banned Russia completely. Russia's nowhere near the competition since 2022. Right? I don't know if they'll ever get back in.
I doubt it.
Highly unlikely. So, then we get a bit further along the journey to where we have the problems with Russia. With Israel really hammering in now, more than the Ukraine and Russia stuff. It's still there, but it's now shifting the focus more on the Russia, the Israel stuff. So, and especially this year, more than any other year, a lot of people will be calling to ban them outright. Like, I do see the point, but you've also got to think about how Eurovision is run.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if anybody knows Eurovision and see anything to do with it, the one thing that stands out would be Moroccan oil.
Yeah.
And Moroccan oil itself, I had to go double check a few things.
And this is what people are comparing to the honey stuff.
An Israeli company.
Yeah.
Just like, and it's the biggest sponsor for Eurovision, just like the honey was for that episode.
Yeah.
And even though it is the headquarters are in Manhattan, it's still an Israel-based company. And it's horrible because they are the biggest sponsor. And the problem is if you look at the information that you can easily access and find, 80% of their operations is done in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Now, from a company standpoint, take the politics aside for a moment. Are you going to go and ban your biggest company, your biggest sponsor?
Yeah.
When that's a lot of money you're going to lose. As much as people are calling for it, and I understand why they're calling for it, are they going to ban them? Probably not.
And the thing, when Lynn pointed that out to me, and when Dan pointed that out to me, because I'm not a Eurovision fan, you know, I don't know all the ins and outs, and I feel like I was just watching an episode of Doctor Who, but when I now see the comparisons, now again, as I stated, I think the fans are looking a bit too much into it, you know, and the Doctor's unaware, but yeah, it's the problem. It's like, because of that company and the backing and that, it's like, how come you can ban Russia but you don't ban Israel when they're just as bad as each other?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, are you going to really ban your business sponsor
No,
from
you're
a
not.
marketing point of view?
No, of course you're not going to.
Exactly.
But you look at it like, yeah, you're just keeping them for money. That's all it is.
It looks shitty, it really does.
It is shitty.
And I know a lot of people were choosing not to watch this year for that reason.
Yeah.
But I agree with them on that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help from the fact that they were almost the winners this year. There was about 100 points of difference. That's all it was.
Really?
Yeah, and that's minus due to a Eurovision point standard.
No, of course it is, yeah.
And
Christ.
so they came second, so we were almost. And now I don't know what they would have done if they were the winners, because when Ukraine won a couple of years back, obviously, because of everything that's going on, they couldn't host it. So it went to the next country that came in second, what happened to be us.
Yeah.
So we hosted on their behalf with them participating at all and having their involvement in it. So we done it on their behalf. Now, if Israel did win, would we be going to Israel to host it? Or Austria would have came second? Would we have still went to Austria and then have the operate it again?
Yeah.
And would they want to?
Yeah, right. Because we're running out of time for this. But yeah, just wrapping this part of it up. It is problematic. I can see the point people are making in the episode, but also, yeah, now this information has been fed to me. It's like fans looking too much into it. The Doctor wasn't aware, but at the same time, I don't think it's what the episode was trying to say. But when you make the comparisons, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because this year has not been subtle with its politics, especially with calling it the Tories in a Christmas episode of all fucking times. Which I'm all for calling them out, but I don't think a Christmas episode was the right place to do it. Because it's too depressing. But not that I don't have a problem with that. Again, them calling stuff out. It's just you need to do it at the right time. But just wrapping this up, me personally, I like the Doctor torturing him. And also, when you look at it, it's not technically the Doctor, it's a fucking hologram. So, yes, the Doctor's controlling it. But we rarely see something like that. The only thing that will make this worth it is if Belinda brings it up next week.
Yeah.
And he feels regret from it. If they just gloss over it, that's when I'm going to have problems with it. And there needs to be something said. Yeah. And using Susan to stop him, you know.
Or trying to. Because it was actually Belinda that pulled him out of it.
Yeah, but Susan's in his conscious thought. That was a brilliant move.
Yeah.
Because I said this to Lynn. If there was any Doctor who might have done that, it would have been Hartnell in his early days.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not, he wouldn't have, I don't think he would have went that far,
no.
But you could imagine him doing that kind of thing.
Exactly.
If somebody wants to fucking kill 3 trillion people at once. But I liked it.
It's a rare moment. We have seen it in the past.
Yes, yeah.
It's a rare moment. But it also proves the point of it takes a lot to get the Doctor that riled up to want to block everything else out
Yeah.
and just focus.
Yeah.
And it happens, but it is rare.
Yeah, and of course 3 trillion people is a fucking huge no-no to him, and
That was his main thought. It wasn't everything else that was going on. It was the fact that amount of people are dying.
Yeah.
I would rather see one person die than that many.
Exactly.
But he had stated many times.
Exactly.
If you go back to Pompeii, for example.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example, modern example of it.
Yeah, where he saves.
Where Donna's still standing there crying at him, going,
she just saved
one person.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
white diversity is better than a whole planet.
Exactly. So we've seen this before, but yeah, I loved it as a scene, and Kid fucking deserved it, obviously. Because we need to wrap this up, let's mention the post-credit scene that was rumoured, and Alfie told me about if you're watching this, and I knew it was coming, but I didn't expect him. But to be honest, right, the more this was going on, I thought, oh yeah, the reveal Mrs. Flood will be the cliffhanger to Westworld. But then the more the last weeks went on, I was like, nah, they're going to do it at the end of this episode, aren't they? Because they can just get it out of the way. But yes, Lynn was correct all along. So Mrs. Flood is the Rani, obviously, which
pretty much from
I didn't want it to be, but okay.
Pretty much from the Christmas episode and Space Baby, your clues were there.
Yeah.
The only thing I missed though, and by looking at it, a lot of people missed it.
Yeah.
Was see if you actually seen Mrs. Flood birthing of the Vindicator.
Yeah. That little
where the circle light where there was galaxies and symbols, but they were small,
yeah.
that you couldn't make out
you
the galaxies right, other than circles with black stuff in it.
Yeah.
So unless you really homed in on that, it would have missed it. So your clue was there from the
very start. Yeah, you should have, unless you're like looking for that. It was there the whole time. But yes, she is the Rani. Don't like her by regenerating. I thought that was a Doctor thing. Clearly, it's not anymore. But yeah, we've got 2 running about the place. 2 Ranis. We've got Manji Punjabi. Is that her name?
Oh, I couldn't begin to pronounce her name.
Well, she's the Rani. And Mrs. Flood seems to be her bitch, which I hope is not the case. I don't want Mrs. Flood to be subsided. I hope she still has an integral part.
Yeah, that's where I'm disappointed in. Because it's nice that you've regenerated and we're getting an actual version of the Rani.
Yeah.
But does that mean that Mrs. Flood was only, that version of the Rani was only doing the work?
Yeah.
With her telling her what to do and trying to come through?
Yeah.
Or won't Mrs. Flood actually do that of her own accord? Which I'm hoping she would do that of her own accord, and then the bi-generation stuff just happened because it was needed.
I don't know.
In those last few moments.
We're about to run out of camera space, but we need to wrap this up. But we will see you next week. Geared up for the cinema. Boom, TARDIS doors explode. That's the sound of May the 24th. We'll see what happens. I just hope it's good. I'll stick our stuff in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. We'll see you all soon. Goodbye. It's going to run out. Wave.